How's everyone doing out there? This is the Cool Club. I am the glitchtrap. Bang! I just recently saw 10, and I just want to do a review on that and review the good, bad, and the ugly. You already know how we do things. This film came out on September 29th, 2023, and it was directed by Kevin Grudert, written by Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg. This Saw film is a bit different than the other Saw films that we've seen or that we've used to, in the fact that it pulls on your heartstrings. It tries to make you very empathetic with the villain. It tries to make you, you'll end up, once you see this film again, you'll have a different level of empathy for John Kramer, who is in turn the Saw villain, who is in turn Jigsaw. John Kramer is Jigsaw, and this film is like a backstory that tells about John. Like it's kind of like a filler story, or a story that takes place in between things. Actually, this film, I don't know what the timeline of this film. This would definitely be placed before the first film, because John, he's dying, of course, as you know, he's about to die, but he has more vigor than he does in the previous film. So I would definitely say this is before. But John is told in the beginning of the film about his advanced brain cancer. We all know Jigsaw was suffering from brain cancer, and that's was one of his motives of doing what he does. But he only has months to live. He attends a cancer support meeting, and there he meets a man named Henry Kessler, who claims to have gotten a terminal cancer diagnosis. He had pancreatic cancer. That was what Henry had. And a physically destitute John later encounters a seemingly healthy Henry, who claims to have been cured by an experimental Norwegian cancer treatment conducted by a group led by Dr. Peterson. And despite a desperate John contacts the doctor's daughter, Cecilia Peterson, who refers him to a clinic in Mexico City. So you see where we're going with this. We have experimental Norwegian cancer treatment. All right. This is something that's new in Saw. Like, experimental treatment. You're looking like, huh? Like, they've never dived into why John, the huge struggle with cancer. Like, they've never mentioned any experimental treatments, or him being, like a guinea pig, or they just never showed. I mean, we saw his desperation, but they've never showed the in-depth intricacies of his medical treatments. Like, we just know he had brain cancer, and that was good enough. We know that was his motive. That's good enough. But this film saw fit to take this route and introduce a new premise and just another motivation for the killings. I mean, we all know that John Jigsaw is trying to teach people a lesson. That's his MO, and we get that. But this film is more direct and personal, a more direct and personal vendetta John has against these people than just them being some random people who've done something wrong. This is personal for him. And the rest of the plot ensues from there. So let's get into the good, bad, and the very ugly. The good about this film: you have all of the Jigsaw puzzles. I mean, all of the traps. You have new traps. This film is very gory. And the CG, not CG, but the gore in the film and the aesthetics, all of it looks great. Saw never gets that wrong. They have a scene where, ladies in a trap, and she either has to cut off her own leg, or and she has to cut off her own leg and and take a certain amount of bone marrow from her own leg, or her head is gonna get cut off. So, and and that scene plays out great. Like the everything, like I said, the horror aesthetics in Saw are done great. Lionsgate, I mean, Twisted Pictures is the production company and distributed. This film is distributed by Lionsgate. They always do a good job of making sure, like I said, making sure the horror, the gore and the horror looks good. That's all we need. It needs to be, horror films have to be good visually. Like, we need that. So you get that in this film. You get a lot of that. Another part of the good is the runtime. The runtime is 118 minutes. That's an hour and about like 40 minutes or something like that. Hour 50 minutes. It's almost a 2-hour film, but at the end of the day, you really don't notice. The movie you're looking. This movie is a very good suspense movie as well. Like this film has some suspense moments where you're like, I'm really into what's going on. I really want to see who's doing what and what's going on. So that's another part of the good. They did the suspense aspect of this film very well. This has another setting that's in Mexico. Again, I mean, it's in Mexico City. And in the clinic that John goes to is in an undisclosed location. So you have a new setting for the horror to ensue. And John brings the traps. He definitely, like I said, Jigsaw is in full effect in the film. Don't think that he's not. And the acting as well. Of course, you have returning actors. The actor who plays John Kramer and his assistant. Those two are familiar. You should be familiar with those faces. They return. And the new actors who are in the film who do a great job. We have Sinovi Lund, who plays Cecilia Peterson. She does a great job, man, as the villain. Or I'm not even say villain. I don't want to spoil it, but she does a great job as a person who you want to see get punished. We have Renata Vaca is Gabriella, Octavio Hinojosa as Mateo. We have a lot of Hispanic actors and actresses who got a role, who got work in this film, and they did a great job. So that'll pretty much end it on the good. What I can say about the bad of the film is this is the same trope over and over. Like, this isn't any rewriting the wheel in as far as Saw goes. Or we already know what not glitch trap, I'm talking about myself. We already know what Jigsaw does. We know that he puts people in traps. He engineers these intricate traps to punish people for their deeds and to try to get them to change their ways and repent and things like that. Like, it's the same premise. There's nothing any different. He just utilizes his skills now in a vigilante sort of matter. And like I said, because this is more of a personal matter for John. That's what I would say for Jigsaw. So he exercises all of his traps and his horror skills because he's a murderer, for all intents and purposes. But he exercises these skills to try to get justice in a personal matter for people who are against villains. But we already know, like, the reason it makes him a villain is that no one is the judge, jury, and executioner. No one is God Almighty. So then John plays God. But that's nothing. We're not reinventing the wheel here. So don't get that twisted at all. This is the same thing. If you coming into this film, you better be expecting Saw mayhem and Saw action. That's what you need to be expecting. Saw on screen. Like, you're not gonna get anything like new except the, which brings me to the ugly, and that's the empathy that they try, the storyline where they try to make you empathize with Jigsaw, the murderer. That is part of the ugly for me. Like, this movie, the ending, you'll see the ending. The way it ended was totally out of place for a Saw film. Like, and what do I mean? I mean, it's a certain scene is the way it ended, like with the shot, the way that the lighting is. You're looking at this like they stepping off into the sunset. Like, you're looking at them like, don't you know that this guy went on to kill numerous people, innocent people, after this, and torture them and put them through torture? So you're just gonna go on into the promised land, like living happily ever after in our torture fest? Come on, like, we looking at it, this movie give you a lot of mixed feelings, and really it'll, at the end, like, you'll leave this film just having a confused feeling. I will say that it'll just be like, you'll be like, okay, because you know what's gonna happen. Like, after, what he goes on to do, and it's like, so who's the real villain? It confuses you. You're looking at it like, who is the villain here? And because not everybody, because this film, like I said, was more personal to John. The other killings he did, the things he did in the films, they weren't so personal. It's more like a you hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt you thing, instead of just following through, like I said, with the Jigsaw philosophy. And I mean, there are 10 films deep into this, so hopefully this is the last one that they do, just to end it, to go ahead and end the series. I love when they end things, like end film. They don't have to keep it going. We don't need Saw 11. We don't need Saw 12. We don't need Saw 13. We don't need that. So with that being said, I'll give Saw 10 a 7 out of 10. I'll rate the film a 7 out of 10. It's a break from your normal ghost films, ghost horror movies that they've been coming out with, and you'll get your typical Saw fix if that's what you're looking for. You'll get that. They haven't done anything great with the film. They haven't reinvented the wheel. They haven't done anything, that's extraordinary. This is an extraordinary film. No, it's a 7 out of 10. It's it's an average horror film, but they'll definitely give you their bang for your buck if you're looking for that Saw, for the gore, and that Saw type of atmosphere or whatever. But the storyline is a bit, like I said, it's a bit different. It could take some people out of it. Like, you don't want to identify, you don't want to see Jigsaw in this type of position, or you don't want to see John and trying to feel sorry for him. That's like a person who's gonna go off to murder many people. You don't want to see that. But for some, like I said, that it'll give you the fix that you need. So 7 out of 10 is what I give Saw number 10. With that being said, I am the Glitch Trap. This is the Cool Club. Hit that like and subscribe button for more videos. I'm gone.